So my dogs haven't been getting along 100%. There have been some moments that there have been fights, and I've been trying to find solutions for it. So what I do when I'm looking for the answer to a problem is I'll start with what I know, and I'll test those things out. And if that doesn't work, I start widening my scope and looking at different approaches, different philosophies, asking different people, and basically search far and wide to find the answer. And this has actually given me a very good example of an interesting thing that we tend to do, which is when I come across something that is completely different to how I would normally do things, a completely different approach, my first natural response is, no way. No, that can't work. And that initial response is often so powerful that it's like it feels like this repulsion and this disgust almost within me when I'm reading about this or watching something, whatever. And I want absolutely nothing to do with it. So now obviously within the Destiny principles that I stand by, that doesn't exactly gel, because one of the main principles of Destiny is investigate everything and keep what's good. So I know that where I'm resisting something, where I'm having that strong reaction, there is something in that. There is something there that I need to look into. Whether it's a preconceived idea or belief, or a preconceived judgment type of thing, or maybe there's some emotional Pandora's box that this might open. So I now obviously in those moments where it's like, no ways, this can't be right, this can't be a valid approach to anything. Now I'm not saying that everything is useful or helpful or effective. Obviously not. There's plenty of stuff in the world that has very little use, but the principle still stands: investigate everything and find what's good. So even if it's 99% something that I test out and I know, okay, that 99% of this concept or approach doesn't work at all, maybe there's that 1%, that one little thing that changes my approach or my perception of what I'm dealing with just a little bit, but it's enough to have an effect, and I can apply it in different ways in how I'm living. So basically, just because that initial response is so strong and so negative doesn't mean that I need to listen to it and follow it. And just because something sounds absurd doesn't mean that it is. And you know what? Look in everything and there'll be some nugget that is good, some nugget that is useful and helpful and supportive. And maybe it seems small at the time, but sometimes those small things actually have a huge effect later on in life. Where I've had small moments of, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. And then in the future, that little, oh, that makes sense, has turned into maybe a way of living or a way of considering things. Especially when you're dealing with something like animals, where they can't actually speak to you. They can't tell you what the problem is. They can't tell you what they need to be implemented as the solution. It's kind of like walking around blind, trying to figure out the layout of a room. You're going to stub your toe, you're going to walk into the wall, into the desk, into the chair, but eventually you start to figure things out. And the more open I am to considering things, the more I put aside that initial response of no way, that can't be right, and actually delve into things, the more I develop growth within myself, the more I give myself the opportunity to do better, do more, even if it's just understanding other people better. I see that as a very helpful thing in this world, understanding people, because I mean, what is developing a community if you can't understand the people you're in this community with? And I think that at the end of the day, we are all part of a global community. So challenge yourself to step outside of your comfort zones and consider different things. Consider what it is that leads people to where they are, because sometimes the only difference between one person who believes one thing and another person who believes something completely different might have been one life choice very early on. And judging is absolutely no way to develop a good relationship with anyone. So focus on understanding, focus on learning, focus on growth, rather than shutting down, blocking out, and being repulsed by the people and the things around you, because that's what you create. So what I want to create is an openness, a willingness to learn more, do more, be more. And so that's what I live. Okay, thank you very much for watching. You're going to see me next time. And hopefully I will have some positive feedback on my dog problems.